Good morning. Just a quick response to Jody John's question. Brilliant question, Jody, on should we do refunds? What about if you miss a birth? And how do you compensate people for that sort of a situation? So, by all means, go ahead and give refunds if that's what you'd like to do. But otherwise, it might be actually more viable for a doula to offer more service, and that would be in the way of postnatal visits. So it could be part of the agreement that you will increase if you have missed out on the birth. But let's just step back a fraction here for a moment. I would very much recommend trying extremely hard not to miss a birth. The couple have been relying on you. They've been fully expecting that you will make it to the birth. They have faith in you that you will be there for them. And of course, I'm not just talking to Jody, I'm talking to everybody. And this is certainly my attitude. It's very, very rare that I've ever missed a birth in all my 30-something years of going to births. I have missed a couple, but usually it's because I was already teaching a prenatal class. Last year, recently, I had one in November where I was with them over the phone, texting during pre-labour, and then they went into the hospital. They were a little bit too early. They went back home. So they had been reassured, checked baby's heart rate, her blood pressure was fine. Everything was absolutely fine. They went home and we had further texting. She was in the shower at home and then she decided to go into the hospital. She was 4 centimetres dilated, and that's usually the time when I would go and join them. So I jumped in the car and went straight up. And luckily it was local. And so I was with her in the shower, and then I ran the bath and I had her in the bath. Time ticked away and it got to about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I raced back home. They knew full well that it was Saturday and that I had to do a class. So I raced home, got changed, raced back to work, luckily not far away, and then taught between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and then jumped back in the car and went straight back to the hospital. Unfortunately, while I'd been away, the obstetrician had talked her into an epidural, so everything had slowed down. So I guess in a way that was also fortunate because it meant that I made the birth. And then we birthed about 8 o'clock at night, and I stayed through to about 10 and then went home. And obviously I was extremely tired, so it had been about a 24-hour journey, that one, unexpectedly, but at least I made it to the birth and then afterwards and got some beautiful photos. Everything was fine. The delivery of the placenta was fine. The baby's first breastfeed was fine. So I was very, very glad to be able to get back there. Clearly she was a fraction disappointed, but also very realistic that she knew that I may have to go back and teach a class. So it's very important, if you have an obligation that you cannot miss, then you make sure that you let them know that there's something, once a week that you can't, go away from. Always being honest with people, and then, but also being careful not to bother them. If there's something happening in your family or something towards the end of their pregnancy, say they're 38, 39, 40 weeks, they still haven't gone into labour and there's something going on, protect them from worrying about that. Don't share any of your burdens with them. Make sure you shoulder all of your personal burdens, and then do everything possible to make sure that you get to their birth. So if that means that you need to recruit help from friends and family and neighbours, call in those favours. After all, you would help out all of those other people too where possible. So do what you can to make sure that you do make it to a birth. That is the job of a doula. Yes, it is unexpected, but it's also exciting too, knowing that at any time you could get that phone call that says, quick, come to a birth. Well, it's hardly ever quick, come to a birth, is it? But it's, make sure that you're all organised. Have everything pre-packed, have everything listed maybe on your wardrobe door or, somewhere on your desk, so that at the last minute you're not going to be disorganised, even if there is quite a lot of personal stuff going on. And that just happens every now and then in life, and we need to keep going with our work, and we need to be able to keep going with our obligations, and it is an obligation. It's part of the reason why doulas get paid so much, because you are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And maybe that should be the title of the next video. How do we justify charging the amount that we charge, and how do we word that on our website? That might be something that you want to think about as well. Have a great day, everybody.